In Act 4 of A Winter's Tale, we enter a genre that was incredibly popular during the English Renaissance and before, incredibly popular with the ancient Greeks and Romans, an enormously culturally important genre which today we don't know about or care about or like. Though, in fact, we've inherited a lot of this genre under other names. We just don't recognize it as the Greeks, the Romans, the Elizabethans, and the Jacobeans presented to us. I'm talking, of course, about the pastoral. What is the pastoral? It is the literature, of course, of shepherds. What greater theme could there be in life and literature than the stories of men who tend to sheep? First of all, the fact that Perdita is left to be raised by shepherds, everybody in the audience would know immediately that is the right move. If you've got an orphaned prince or princess, castaway, foundling prince or princess, the people to raise them are always shepherds. It's in folk tales, it's in literature, it's in legend and mythology. It goes way, way back. She's been raised by shepherds. She's being raised by shepherds. It's all going to be okay. Weirdly, being raised by shepherds, still on track to be a royal someday. Who do you want raising your prince? Shepherds. Why? So they'll know more about the wool trade? No. It's also, even outside those kind of folklore settings, shepherds are symbolic in the pastoral. Shepherds stand for things. They stand for a kind of political purity and tradition. They stand for kind of independence for whatever's going on at the city or the court. This is always the literature, getting away from the political center off to the rural area where the old ways and the pure ways are still there and best. They stand for poetry, they stand for love. Who understands love poetry more than shepherds? Who understands complicated experiments in poetic metrics more than shepherds? But English Renaissance poets who want to work out their kind of complicated new poetic theories put them in shepherds' mouths. Love poems, shepherds, right? Even though Shakespeare never does this, they're also shepherds are useful for kind of satire on church politics. Remember, the word pastor is the Latin word for shepherd, and the Latin word for shepherd is pastor. Who are these pastors? Who are these bad shepherds who aren't taking care of the flock, who are misleading their flock? You get it. Shakespeare doesn't play that game, but lots of his contemporaries and role models do. Now, if it seems strange to you or even bizarre to invest so much cultural significance in working class guys who tend to farm animals, I have two words for you, my friends. Cowboy movie. Get it? Cowboys are not just cowboys in American culture, they stand for individualism, they stand for independence, they stand for masculinity, they stand for an idea of America itself. That's a lot to put on people who work for kind of low wages tending farm animals and mending fences out on the prairie. That's a whole lot going on there. How's that teething toy doing? Give your children pizza early, but this is the lowest calorie pizza she will ever have. Oh, we do it too. So we also have a shared cultural fantasy, not to put down the cowboys, etc., but we invest them as symbols beyond anything that literally happens on a cattle ranch or a cattle range. What we do with cowboys, Shakespeare and his generation, and many generations before him, did with shepherds. So you see the shepherds, it's going to be okay. They're a symbol, even if they're clowns and silly, they're a symbol of people who are basically okay. And the pastoral is always this move where you go away. Often noblemen are like, I'm going to get away from the city and get away from London or whatever it is. I'm going to get away from the king or the queen and all that fight, all that political infighting. I'm going to get away from all that, get away from all that stress. And I'm going to go out in the country where they feed the sheep, and we're going to sing complicated poems about love. Right? Right? Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. let me suggest, since the holidays are upon us, and we are talking about various kinds of winter's tales, you know this too. This is the basic cultural DNA underlying just about every Hallmark holiday romance. You know those. We switched the genders up a little, but a successful professional class lady living in the big city, whichever big city, leaves that hectic, crazy business world to go back out to the small town in the country where the old way still and protect and try to save the families. Candle shop, muffin bakery, jingle bell foundry, whatever it is, whatever old fashioned small time biz family business isn't threatened this time. And, she's also going to meet some crazy working class bohunk, right? Happens every time. You know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. And I've never even seen any of these movies. I still know what's going to happen, right? That is a kind of update of the pastoral fantasy where you go away from the city and all the stress of, say, making money, getting ahead in politics, etc., and go out to the simpler, slower life. The Perdita's sojourn among the shepherds is a sign that she's on track to get back in touch with appropriate values. And what more could you ever want in a queen?